Alright, shalom, shalom. Before I begin this video, all praise, honor, and glory goes into Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well, and taught me this truth. Along with the sincere salutations to the elder bishops, along with you brothers laboring all throughout the four winds of the earth, preaching the words of the Heavenly Father, and his only begotten Son, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. To you I say shalom. So this is a video entitled Living Check to Check, right? A segue to the MOTB, or living check to check will lead to the MOTB. What, something in that neighborhood. And that's based off of a article that I'm currently reading through study finds. 74% of employees surveyed admit currently living paycheck to paycheck. All right, which I got to go up to the top and read this, because this is important about the, this is important to it as well. This is important to the article as well. Young workers ready to quit, burnout, pay concerns driving exodus. 73% of Gen Z and 70% millennials are looking to change jobs, compared to only 33% of baby boomers. Which, even if you change jobs, it really ultimately don't matter what job you work at, because it's tied to a system. It's tied to a financial system. So achieving some sort of, quote unquote financial freedom, it's not possible because it's based off of the devil's money. So there's no amount of money that you're gonna make to where you're no longer tied to this devil system. Now, of course, if you have some extra money, that's great. The scriptures speak about money being a defense. Yet we understand that they're putting the pressure on this place ultimately to bring in the MOTB, not only here in America but worldwide. These sorts of issues that are taking place are worldwide issues. It says compared to 33% of baby boomers, highlighting a significant generational divide in workplace satisfaction. And that's because, that generation has a lot of business, whether that's family businesses, whatever the case is. The money's kind of more coming back to them. It's more in-house, so to speak, or they may own a certain business or a certain LLC to where, they basically pay themselves. But even that's why the scripture, small and great, rich and poor, everybody is going to be faced with that test. See, that's the ultimate test. The MOTB coming on the scene. Only the elect will pass the test. Only the elect of the nation of Israel will pass the test. The rest are going to perish, right? There's nearly 3 in 4 workers are living paycheck to paycheck. But this what you wanted. This what you wanted. And the spirit got me really thinking about the so-called black woman. This what you wanted, Eve. You wanted to turn up, live paycheck to paycheck. That's life for the so-called black woman, turning up. Hooting and hollering. Spending non-existent money. The number one, and I'm just speaking as a man. The number one holder of debt has got to be the so-called black woman. It's got to be. I cannot think of any of another demographic of people that hold more debt. Eve got so much credit card debt. Eve got debt. Eve got bills. And in a general sense, Eve living better than Jake. Like the average so-called black woman is living 3, 4, 5 times better than the so-called black man. Now of course you got certain Jakes that are, very prominent, rich, whatever, but that's far and few in between. For the most part, you see the so-called black woman pushing the Benz, pushing the brand new Benz, pushing the brand new Lexus, portraying that lifestyle, trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? And be paycheck to paycheck. Burnout affects 68% of Gen Z workers, but only 30% of boomers. Once again, for the same reason, right? They probably own their business. They show up, maybe at the end of the day, maybe the beginning of the day. Collect the money and be out. With monotonous work, monotonous work and stagnant pay cited as top factors contributing to workplace exhaustion. So you do all this fucking work and you don't make shit. That's Babylon the Great. The harder you work, the less you make. Here in Babylon the Great, somebody can just sit in front of a computer, click, clack, a couple times, maybe send an email or two, if that, sip some coffee, hang out around the water cooler with, whatever the case. And they'll make 3, 4, 5, 6 times more than Jake physically, Jake fucking hammering, concrete with a jackhammer. Jake can't hammer concrete with a jackhammer for 8 hours and make the same amount of money that Esau can make in a lunch break in 30 minutes. Yet the 2/3 of Israel, they want to continue to be in this system. You're not going to survive and last in this system. That's why the Lord is going to destroy you. That's why the Lord is going to destroy 2/3 of Israel and have them come back through the loins of the elect in the kingdom. Because you won't make it here. You won't survive here. The Lord's got to put an end to this fucking place. That's how you'll be rewarded. You won't be rewarded being here. Jake want to talk about, hard work pay off. Hard work pay off. Talk about loans and these different business schemes and financial wealth. You fucking 400 years late. And excuse my language, but you late. Jake is late to the party. This damn devil, and you more than 400 years late, Salakia. Just speaking as far as, specifically, from the 1600s to now, so to speak. But Jake, you've been in different captivities, getting your ass beat, being subject to payments, and you want to continue to be here. This is what you wanted. All right, so you're gonna keep suffering. All right, because it's Jake that's making the TikToks, speaking about what he and she is going through, and of course it's the heathen, making videos and complaining. Yet most of these videos that we're seeing is a so-called black woman talking about this ain't what she signed up for. Well, you're gonna have to continue. You're gonna have to continue to do what you do, right? These different women doing all this wickedness. They burnt out from the wickedness too. Lord's will, I'm gonna do a video about that. About how these women, they just burnt out. They're burnt out. Yet, they got that demon on them to just keep doing what they do. Keep being a pain in our side. Because we see the so-called black woman and what she does. It's a pain in our side, man. It's a pain in our side. It is what it is. Yet we'd be lying if we said that it don't bother us to look at the so-called black woman pull up in a brand new Porsche. Ain't done shit all day. Yet she living check to check. She living check to check. And it's a facade. It's just it's all smoke and mirrors, with these people, man. It says most workers want better pay, flexible work arrangements, and policies limiting after-hours communication to improve their job satisfaction and reduce burnout. Yeah. And, going back to the so-called black woman, that is one of her number one complaints. I want more money. I want more flexible, job. I don't want them texting me after I get off. And da-da-da-da-da. Nigga, they own you. They own you. All right? See, the 2/3 think that they think that they equal with Esau. No, nigga, you are under the foot of the so-called white man. And you gonna learn that real quick. And the only way to get out is through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shabbat Shema Kakudah. See, these fucking devils know that we ain't rocking with their program. They know that through the spirit. They can look at us, starting off with the elder apostles of Grey Millstone on down. They can look at us and see the spirit that is in us. The water to the Rakah Kodash resting upon us, to do these lessons resting upon us, to push through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The heathen can see it. It happens all the time. Every brother in this truth knows that, okay, you go somewhere and depending on who it is, they just going to stop and they going to stare at you. Because you're not a nigga. We not walking through crispy lineup, beard all lined up, pulled up in the brand new, Maybach, AP on the wrist. That's not us. That's not what we were called to do. We were called to be meek, humble. Now, if a brother has a nice car or whatever, then, hey, that's cool. That's fine. It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Yet, you're not going to see brothers pull up, a whole, $3,000 Gucci suit, Louis Vuitton bag to camp, iced out. That's not how we're coming. I'm just gonna read and caused and whatnot. It's not finna read through all this. Salakia. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. This is what we patiently waiting for. Okay? Put you motherfuckers on the chopping block. Alright? Put your ass on the chopping block. We cannot wait. On the chopping block, auction block, all the blocks. All right, it's what we patiently wait for because we know that it's going to happen. That's part of being in captivity, is knowing that these things are going to happen and having to suffer being ruled over by the nations. Shit, in this society, we being ruled over by 2/3 of Israel. Two-thirds nigga, some shaved, bald-headed 2/3 nigga, making, $200,000 every, 2 months or something. You got them sort of jakes, just, and they think they on some sort of level. And they believe that they're equal to the heathen here, and that's just not true. All right? All right, you damn devils, you killed us with the sword, so that's what's happening to you. Okay, in the kingdom, you're going to be slaves in the kingdom of heaven, along with the heathen. The heathen will be slaves as well. Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. All right, that two-party system. And see, E always speaks from the point that he's looking down on you.